Sunday night, under the lights at Highmark Stadium, the Buffalo Bills have a golden opportunity to prove they're not just contenders. They're real-deal threats in the AFC. Sitting comfortably at Quattro Vittorias in Inhuma Derrota, the Bills can push their record to 5-0 if they handle business against a very different New England Patriots team than we've seen in the past. But don't let the Patriots' modest duas Vittorias duas Derrotas fool you. This is not your typical rebuilding team. There are legitimate challenges in this matchup, especially with a new era fully underway in Foxborough. Let's start with the backdrop. This will be the centesima trigesima segunda vez que Bills Patriots se enfrentam. Historically, New England has dominated the series, but that narrative has started to shift in recent years. This time around, it's the Bills who enter as heavy favorites, with a roster that's deeper, more explosive, and better coached. But division games have a way of being chaotic, especially when the Patriots walk into the building with a young quarterback who's already turning heads around the league. Drake May, 23 years old, seis pés y cuatro polegadas, duzentos y 25 libras. A top 3 pick in this year's draft, and already playing like a future star. Completing an NFL-leading 74% dos passes. He's averaging dezenas y 40 jardas por jogo, com 6 touchdowns y apenas duas intercepticos agora. His quarterback rating? A ridiculous 109.4. But it's not just about the numbers. It's how he's getting it done. Calm in the pocket, great on third downs, poised under pressure, and most importantly, he throws one of the most catchable balls in the league with an 80% catchable pass rate. That's elite company. But as much as there is to praise about Drake May, there's a key weakness the Bills must exploit. He takes sacks, many of them. His sack rate is 9.5% and 20% dos presos viram sacks, one of the highest rates in the league. That's a green light for a Bills pass rush that's already heating up. Getting to him, and more importantly, bringing him down, is going to be a huge key. It's not just about collapsing the pocket. It's about finishing plays when you get the chance. Buffalo's defense cannot afford to let this kid escape and extend drives. Now, when you look at the rest of the Patriots' offense, there are some intriguing pieces, but nothing that should outright scare this Bills defense, unless they don't show up ready to play. Starting with the wide receiver room, Stefon Diggs is now wearing red, white, and blue, but not for Buffalo. He's still got short area quickness and crisp route running, but he's no longer the vertical threat he once was. Then there's Keyshawn Bout, who's flashed some big playability but lacks elite speed. Hop Douglas is lightning quick in the slot, but hasn't been featured much this year. And then there's Holland, a size-speed matchup problem who's quietly caught 2 touchdowns on just no targets. They're not an elite group, but they can catch you slipping. At tight end, Hunter Henry remains a steady target, especially in the red zone, and Austin Hooper gives them a solid second option. But what really stands out in this Patriots offense is their running back depth. Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, and Antonio Gibson all bring something different to the table. Stevenson is a hammer between the tackles. Henderson has real juice and could break one at any time. Gibson's had a roller coaster career, but still brings explosiveness. And here's the kicker. New England loves throwing to these guys. Running backs make up a massive portion of their target share. That's straight out of the Josh McDaniels playbook, and it's a big piece of their offense. Now, let's talk offensive line, because if there's a soft spot the Bills can exploit, it's right here. The left side is incredibly young. Rookies will Campbell at tackle and Jared Wilson at guard. Campbell has some raw talent, but looks more like a future guard than a long-term blindside protector. Garrett Bradbury, their center, is athletic but lacks anchor. And while right guard Mike Onwenu is their best lineman by far, Morgan Moses at right tackle is aging and average at best. There's potential here, sure, but there are cracks. And that's where Buffalo's D-line needs to feast. Pressure will be critical. Drake May has been lights out when kept clean. Passer rating over Cento, even but he drops to 64.2 under pressure. That's a massive swing. So whether it's Greg Rousseau, Leonard Floyd, Ed Oliver, or A.J. Epineza, these guys need to live in the Patriots' backfield. And don't forget about those blitz packages. Buffalo's 5- and 6-man pressures could wreck New England's timing and rhythm. But it's not just about sacking the quarterback. It's about containing him, too. Drake may can run. In fact, he's already picked up novena e oito jardas m 24 corridas. And this is an area where the Bills have struggled badly. They've given up 119 jardas m scrambles this season, quarter marca de liga. Quarterbacks are averaging mais de 10 jardas por tentativa to scramble contra Buffalo. That's a real problem. And you better believe the Patriots have seen that on tape. The solution? Discipline. Not necessarily putting a full-time spy on May, because that compromises your coverage, but being disciplined with your rush lanes and having a plan for when he breaks the pocket. Contain, rally, and tackle. Another key for this defense: don't sleep on the running backs in the passing game. Through 4 games, Patriots backs have combined for 24 receptos e dezenas e 42 jardas. That's the second most by any team's running back unit, behind only the 49ers. The Bills need to be ready for that check-down game, the angle routes, the screens, all of it. Buffalo's linebackers and safeties will be under pressure to tackle in space and close windows quickly. And then there's the run game. Look, the Bills' run defense hasn't exactly been dominant. But here's the thing. Neither has New England's rushing attack. This isn't some juggernaut. They haven't even had a 100-yard rusher yet. In fact, it's what we call bad on bad. Buffalo has to prove they can stop the run, no doubt. But the Patriots still need to show they can actually run the ball consistently. Let's not pretend there's some physical powerhouse. This matchup is going to come down to 3 things for the Bills' defense. Pressure Drake May, contain his legs, and tackle in space, especially against the backs. If they can do that, the odds of improving to 5-0 skyrocket. Now, let's flip it over, because Josh Allen and this offense have a massive opportunity here. On paper, the Patriots' defense looks decent. Only 22 por jogo, decimo primero mejor número de liga. But dig deeper, and you'll find some holes, especially in the passing game. They're 26 MEPA por pase. And yes, Christian Gonzalez is back at corner, and he's really good. But the middle of the field? That's where Buffalo should attack, and attack hard. While the Patriots have a couple of legit names on the outside, including the talented Christian Gonzalez and the battle-tested Carlton Davis, the middle of their defense is where things start to fall apart. Linebackers like Robert Spillane are decent against the run, but become liabilities in coverage, and his running mates, whether it's Christian Ellis or Jack Gibbons, have been flat-out disasters in space. Add in the uncertainty at safety, where Kyle Duggar is only playing because they can't find anyone else to replace him, and you've got a massive soft spot in the middle of the field that Josh Allen and the Bills must take advantage of. This isn't the game to be throwing jump balls to the boundary. It's not the week to test vertical one-on-ones against Gonzalez or Davis unless you absolutely have to. This is about exploiting matchups over the middle, short and intermediate throws that force linebackers to cover in space, safeties to make decisions, and a shaky zone to stay disciplined. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox should both be heavily involved. Khalil Shakir should see more action from the slot. James Cook could do damage as a receiver out of the backfield. These are the kind of matchups that Buffalo can control, and they absolutely must lean into them. Personnel usage will also play a huge role here. One of the biggest advantages the Bills have going into this game is their ability to dictate matchups by using their big people. We're talking about 12 and 13 personnel, 2 or 3 tight ends, a fullback, heavier sets. These formations force defenses to make choices, and the Patriots have not responded well to that challenge this season. When teams force them into base personnel, 3 linebackers on the field, New England becomes vulnerable. In fact, they're the 5th worst team in the league when defending the pass out of base defense in terms of EPA per snap. That's a massive vulnerability, especially when you consider how the Bills love to pass out of heavier sets. So if you're Ken Dorsey, you're dialing up formations that put the Patriots in a bind. You get them into base defense, and then you spread them out with motion, create mismatches with your tight ends, and go after their linebackers in coverage. You can even throw out of condensed formations and force them to cover sideline to sideline. This is how you control the tempo of the game without being predictable. Now let's talk about the ground game. Statistically, the Patriots look like one of the best run defenses in the league. They've only allowed Trace Jardas por tentativa, and they're fourth in EPA per rush. But again, context matters. The teams they've faced so far, the Raiders, Dolphins, Steelers, and Panthers, aren't exactly bringing elite run games to the table. None of those teams have a quarterback like Josh Allen who can run. None of them have the combination of backs, blocking schemes, and misdirection that Buffalo uses. The Bills' run game isn't just about traditional handoffs. It's about the threat of Josh Allen pulling the ball on zone reads. It's about pre-snap motion that confuses the linebackers. It's about quick-hitting runs that stress gap integrity. James Cook has looked explosive all year, and Latavius Murray brings that downhill physicality that wears defenses down. And then there's Josh Allen, who's always a threat to keep it on third and short or punch it in near the goal line. The Patriots haven't faced anything like this yet. So yeah, their metrics look strong, but this will be their first real test. There's also something to be said for the rhythm this Bills offense is building. After 4 games, Josh Allen has settled into a more controlled version of himself. The turnovers are down. The decision-making is better. He's trusting the short and intermediate throws, and he's not forcing the deep shots unless they're truly there. That's maturity. That's growth. And against a defense like New England's, which will try to bait him into mistakes with disguised coverages and soft zones, that patience will pay off. One last thing to keep an eye on, red zone execution. The Patriots are scoring touchdowns on 60% of their red zone trips, while their defense is allowing touchdowns at an 80% rate. That's one of the worst marks in the league. If the Bills get into the red zone, they have to finish. No settling for field goals. This defense can be pushed around down near the goal line, and Buffalo has the personnel to do just that. Use the tight ends, pound the rock with James Cook, and let Josh Allen take over in those short yardage situations. The opportunities will be there. The key is capitalizing. So as this game gets closer, everything comes down to execution. The Bills are the more talented team on paper. They have the better quarterback, the better defense, and the more dynamic offense. But none of that matters if they don't play with urgency. This Patriots team might not be what they once were, but they're still dangerous. They're still physical. And they've got just enough playmakers to make you pay if you're sloppy. And we can't forget about special teams. New England might have the most dangerous return unit in the league. Antonio Gibson already has a kick return touchdown this year. Marcus Jones is a punt return wizard. He had 9 punt return touchdowns in college and already 2 in the NFL. Just last week, he pulled off another highlight reel return. The Bills cannot afford to give him room. The priority has to be on hang time and placement. Make him fair catch every punt, or better yet, keep the offense on the field and avoid punting altogether. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Explosive rumors are shaking the NFL landscape as whispers circulate that the Buffalo Bills have reportedly closed a deal with defensive powerhouse Chris Jones. Sources, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, suggest that the blockbuster move could instantly redefine the Bills' defensive identity, sending shockwaves through the AFC East. If true, the acquisition of Jones would mark one of the most significant defensive upgrades in recent memory, potentially positioning Buffalo as an even more formidable contender in the postseason. Chris Jones, a proven force on the interior line, has long been recognized for his disruptive pass-rushing ability and game-changing presence against both the run and the quarterback. For years, teams have struggled to contain him, and the idea of Jones anchoring the Bills' front seven has ignited speculation among fans and analysts alike. Imagine a unit where Jones can collapse the pocket, free up linebackers for coverage, and create turnovers at will. Buffalo's defense could suddenly become one of the league's most feared, if this rumor holds water. The timing of this alleged deal adds fuel to the frenzy. The Bills have been vocal about their desire to fortify their defense after close playoff battles expose vulnerabilities in key moments. Pairing Jones with the existing roster of defensive stalwarts could give head coach Sean McDermott the kind of line that opponents dread facing on third-and-long situations. Speculation is rife that this move might not just be about one player, but a signal of a larger strategic shift, emphasizing aggression and depth in the trenches. While nothing is officially confirmed, social media and insider chatter are running wild, with fans imagining highlight reels of Jones sacking quarterbacks in Orchard Park. If the Bills indeed land him, the ripple effects could reshape the AFC playoff picture entirely. Rival teams are suddenly on high alert, and sports pundits are already debating how the presence of Jones could influence Buffalo's defensive schemes. Whether it's a calculated gambit or mere rumor, the idea of Chris Jones in a Bills jersey has certainly set the NFL rumor mill ablaze. One thing is clear: Buffalo could be about to take a monumental step toward defensive domination. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.